What's up, YouTubers? I made a video yesterday about how it didn't rain. Well, actually, it rained last night, the whole night. Today, it was just like yesterday. They said it was going to rain at 10. It didn't. Looks like it might rain though right now. I can feel a few raindrops. Anyhow, that's not why I'm making this video. There's a good, well, some information that came out that might interest my viewers. It's about Southeast Asia, but it's a trend that may come to Latin America. Anyways, if you haven't heard, Vietnam is allegedly kicking out all the foreigners that don't have a marriage visa or they don't have a working visa. Now, I thought they were getting rid of the tourist visa. I did some checking and you can still go there, but what's happened is if you've been there like a long time doing visa runs, they're not renewing visas anymore. So, and if you're an American, under some circumstances you can stay there 6 months, but you can't get it renewed. And other visas are the same, the tourist visas. And now, as it happens, I know some people on work visas, so it won't affect them. And I've been watching videos to get more information, but it looks like what happened is kind of what happened in Thailand. This is why I'm bringing this up for some of my subscribers. What happened in Thailand in the past was they didn't enforce the visa runs. You could do the visa runs. I mean, they was what I mean, and they didn't change the policy, but then they did. Anyways, what happened was a lot of the oldsters there, the retirees, the expats who are really old, well, they required them to get insurance with COVID and even before COVID. Well, my understanding is, that's what my understanding is. I might be wrong on that, but that's what I was told. But with COVID, 100% you had to have COVID insurance to go there. Well, a lot of the older retirees can't get insurance because they're uninsurable. They're too old. I hate to say that, but here you can get insurance up to 65 or even past that, but it depends on the circumstances. It depends on the insurance company. But apparently in Thailand, they won't insure older people past a certain age. Now, I don't know what that cutoff is. Well, they're starting to do that in a lot of countries. As some of my viewers have pointed out, I can't remember when it was, 2018, 2019, I think 2017 or 16 maybe. Costa Rica, you have to have insurance to visit there and live there, but also too, you have to have that insurance in Ecuador. Anyways, what I'm saying is, if this is a trend, like if the Philippines does this, or let me put it this way, the Philippines had a retiree visa, then during COVID they got rid of it. So as of now, my understanding is it's very difficult to get a tourist visa. You can't get a retiree visa, so you basically can't go there. Well, I thought maybe this would end, but it seems like with Vietnam doing what they're doing, this could last a while. Anyways, some people are saying you can't go there as a tourist, but I went on and did some research. I think you can. You just can't renew your visa. It's kind of like Brazil, where you can go to Brazil for 6 months or 3 months, then renew your visa, and then you got to leave for 6 months before you can come back. But I'm not even 100% sure about that. But what I've been hearing is Japan, Philippines might start to copy what Vietnam is doing. They just kind of want to slowly get rid of expats and long-term tourists, people who don't have a visa. I'm only bringing that up because it used to be the Philippines had a retirement visa, then they got rid of it, and as of now they're not saying if they're going to bring it back or what they're going to do. That's the only reason I bring this up. It seems to me the trend is if you don't have a proper permanent visa, it's going to be harder and harder for you to travel as a PT or a perpetual tourist. It still will be possible. It's just you're going to have to get your ducks in order and make plans and plan your trip a lot more. And of course, there's always going to be exceptions when you get to a border and a border agent renews your visa, but other ones won't. But anyways, what's happened is Vietnam is kicking out all these tourists, and what's happened is there's a lot of these young people and some old people, they don't have enough money to get a plane ticket to leave. That's another interesting thing, that when these things happen, you better have enough money or a credit card to get back to your home country, presumably in your home country you have people you can stay with and resources you can utilize there. In Asia and Latin America, there's no like welfare benefits. I only bring this up because a lot of people from the West assume they can go to the Asian countries and Latin countries and kind of, I hate to say abuse the system, but live as bums. I don't like that word either, but just beg on the streets. Well, Asian countries are starting to, I think, crack down on that. They want you to have a visa to be there. They want you to be a productive citizen or person, or if you're just a tourist, that's what you're doing. If you're not going to be a tourist, have the proper visa. And another thing they're doing, which I'm sure my viewers already know, is they're verifying income more. They're getting more strict in how they verify income, I should put it that way. So some of the loopholes like that have been closed off, not completely. And I don't think they'll be really completely closed off everywhere, especially not in Latin America. But anyways, I just thought I'd make a video about how it could be a trend where the governments, some governments are going to make it harder and harder to do visa runs. You're going to have a proper visa, and some countries might not even have retiree visas. Again, Vietnam doesn't have that. The Philippines did, but they got rid of it, and they're not saying when they're going to bring it back. And you would think they would want retirees, but it could be this is the start of a trend where they don't really want retirees in their country, especially if you're an older person and you're eating up the resources and you don't have insurance, medical care resources, but basically what I mean. And they have to subsidize all that, because that's what's happened in Thailand. It's kind of happening in the Philippines, but I would say the Philippines is a little bit different. Usually if you can't afford to pay for your medical care, you just don't get any. But in Thailand, people have come in, gotten medical care and didn't pay. So this could be a trend where, like, if you don't have a visa and if the country doesn't want to provide a long-term visa for people, you won't get one. It'll almost be like some Middle Eastern countries where you can really only visit there if you have a work visa. Other than that, you might not be welcome. So anyways, that's what's going on. I just saw a video where countries are now starting to get rid of, I hate to say tourists, but they don't want long-term stay people anymore. They may not plan on having any visas for them. And according to what I just heard in Vietnam, if you're married to a Vietnamese or if you have a work visa, that's the only way you can really stay there long-term. I think that's going to be a trend that's going to be in place for a while. And incidentally, that's partly why I tell people, if you can get a residence where you can use your local ID to travel to the adjoining countries, then you don't necessarily need a passport to travel to all these adjacent countries. And there's a lot more to be said about that. Usually you can just stay indefinitely. You're not supposed to stay indefinitely, but you can and get away with it. At least if you have your local ID. Where if you use your passport, it's getting to the point in a lot of countries now, like here, there's always some people crossing over to Mexico and then trying to come back and get a new tourist visa, a tourist thing for Guatemala, but sometimes they're not letting you do that. And sometimes it used to be you could still walk across and come back a few hours, but some of the border agents make you stay there 3 days or more. And it could get to the point where they just start cracking down on that a lot more. It's hard to imagine they would do that, but it's a possibility. So hopefully my viewers have a plan B if that ever happens to them. Anyways, looks like we're going to get another day of rain. And looks like there's clouds over there, but I can feel a few drops right now. Just a heads up for people, you still got to wear a mask here. Most people still do, but I've never heard of anyone getting a fine or anything. And I've never even heard of anyone stopping anyone who wore one. I was just in the mall yesterday and someone had a really low, temperature, but they just let you in anyways. And a lot of these malls, there's no more guards watching you, even if whether you watching you come in and seeing that you did the temperature check. So there's a lot of fatigue right now for the masks and for all that temperature stuff. And I presume in a few weeks they're going to stop doing it. And if they don't do that, if they keep that mask mandate up, they probably won't enforce it much anymore, because there's just more and more people here not wearing masks. Not a lot, but they're just getting tired of it. Anyways, that's it for today. Have a good weekend wherever you are, and have a happy Memorial Day if you're in the States. Thanks.